On this beautiful day, I'm here at Bernheim with Hannah Coleman Zaitsev, one of my friends and colleagues here. And I discovered something brand new about Hannah that I didn't know. She, too, is a lover of persimmons. We both have a great love for persimmons. And I also discovered something else. The persimmons match her hair. Ta-da! So I grew up eating persimmons. With my dad showed me the first persimmon tree, which is probably right here at Bernheim. He said, you'll recognize it by its bark that looks like an alligator. And so now I have a searching image. I cannot go past the persimmon tree without all the persimmons in those little areas jumping out at me and going, here I am. So persimmons, they call our attention. Do they do that to you too?
They do. The first time I ate a persimmon was when I moved to Kentucky. And I thought it was the best fruit I had ever eaten. And it was the first tree I learned to identify so I could show off to all my friends.
Isn't it fun?
Yeah.
So one of my memories of Bernheim, I have many memories of my early experience with Bernheim. One was just seeing all these naturalists around or people working outdoors doing what they loved. And another, which was a very memorable experience, was eating my first ripe persimmon. It was here at Bernheim. And of course, my other memorable experience was eating an unripened persimmon. You know what I'm talking about? It's like having a mouthful of fuzzy wrinkles.
Yeah. And
you never forget it. You've had that experience too, right?
Yes. It's gross.
It is. It really is gross. It didn't, it doesn't live by its namesake. The genus name for this is Diosporus. It's a genus name which is really kind of loosely translated as fruits of the gods. So it doesn't taste like it when it's not ripe. I know that there are some unripened persimmons in here. Would you do us the honors of picking out a couple of unripened persimmons and tell us how you identified them?
Absolutely. I'm a great persimmon hunter.
All right. I think you got the two that I am certain are not ripe. Can you tell us how you could tell that those weren't ripe?
So first off, when you pick them up, they're really hard. Ripe persimmons are really squishy. And this one is almost hard as a rock. And then two, it's way too shiny and bright. You can see it's bright red and orange, and it doesn't have that dusty coating that persimmons usually have when they're ready to eat.
So as tempting as it might be, because this one might look a lot prettier than, say, this one is kind of squishy and looks like it's picked up a little of the forest floor on it, this would be the one that would be best to eat. My dad told me a particular tip for identifying persimmons. He said, if they fall with like a plunk, it's a plunker, and it falls with a splatter, it'll make you fatter.
Oh!
So, because they do kind of splat a little bit.
They do.
I think the really ripe ones have they remind me of a water balloon filled with applesauce, orange applesauce. Don't you think? Kind of gushy.
Definitely.
And the top comes off, that little receptacle there, kind of lifts right off really easily. Now, one of the things besides eating them and making cookies, and we'll have some persimmon bread here in a minute, which I think you've already got a sample of, is that I love the fact, and I mentioned this in our little Wednesday video on the walnuts, is that it's a good reminder how in nature timing is everything. These things ripen up. The walnuts ripen up full of fat, right? And oil for fattening up critters for the winter. These are full of sugar, which turns into what? Fat. Yes. I can see it right on your lips there. So they fatten up for the winter. And those, sugars and fattening things. And of course, we eat them. And we fatten up in the winter too. Bulk up. But I love that kind of timing and how it's important for these relationships that have developed over a long period of time, because here it is the fall, animals find what they need. In the spring, it'll be a whole different bunch of foods that they will eat. They'll eat foods that will stimulate growth hormones and sex hormones and strengthen bones and all that. But this kind of stuff for raccoons, possums, skunks, even deer, fox will eat them too. So.
And me.
And you. And me too. So. This is a pretty nice tree right here, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
If you were to slice right in and look at the hardwood, you'd see that it's very dark. So it's a member of the ebony family. They used to make golf clubs out of the heads of these things. Probably they still do, because they're really hard wood. But you can also forecast the weather with the seeds. The seeds are about the size of a watermelon seed. Not a watermelon, a watermelon seed. And those watermelon seeds, if you split them open, you can, what I call forecasting the weather.
Ooh.
Have you heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
That's a kind of a good word for forecasting when it's based on things like that, right?
Yeah.
So if it's, the way I've heard it, everybody has their own way of talking about it, is that if it's shaped like a knife, it'll be cutting cold winter. If it's shaped like a fork, you're going to have its ups and downs. And if it's shaped like a spoon, you better grab your snow shovel. So anything else you would like to say or add your 2 cents worth to this little persimmon harvest that we're about to do?
Oh, I would say everybody should try a persimmon at least once.
Yeah.
And if you see them, grab a bunch of them because you're going to want another.
I think that is absolutely right. Hey, by the way, would you like a little taste of persimmon bread?
Yes, please.
Okay.